Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Confetti Conversations. Welcome to another podcast.
Woohoo!
If you're watching, you will see we have two dogs today.
Dougie's come back.
Dougie's come back. We've got a calm Cooper and we've got Doug. So they might not stay for the whole podcast, but we'll see how we get along. But
if they get off, it's going to be chaotic as well.
Yeah, we'll have to stop for that. So today we're talking decorations. Oh, we're losing a dog. So,
Yes.
Roll the intro.
Hello and welcome to Confetti Conversations,
The podcast where me and my sister talk all things weddings, wedding planning, and married life. Stuff, but this time it's more hired decoration. So This is not something that we have any experience in. I didn't even look at hired decorations. I didn't even look for quotes. It didn't really cross my mind. I knew that there was companies out there because like one of our friends got all of her stuff from.
That's the first time I'd heard of it.
Yeah. But I just didn't really consider that was something that I would want to do because I knew I wanted to DIY. So, we've done a bit of research into it.
Yep.
Like I said, it's not our expertise, but if any of you have any experience with hire companies or, you've hired stuff before, let us know. Let us know, what your experience is with it.
Yeah.
So I think, firstly, from my knowledge, the way that it works with hiring your decorations is that you can sort of do different packages.
Mm-hmm.
So different companies, different packages, and you can do sort of all of your decorations or you can do a little bit of your decorations.
Yeah.
I'm going to note that we're not really talking flowers today.
No.
Because flowers is a separate thing in my opinion.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies have like florists affiliated with them.
Yeah.
A lot do faux flowers. But florists and flowers as a whole is a completely different topic in my opinion.
It's a big one.
So you could, if you go to a company, you might be able to get all of your flowers from them, but you might also hire things from a company and then flowers come into that.
Yes.
And I know specifically the florist that I worked for, you could hire vases and some table decorations from her. So I know that there's a bit of a crossover with those two things, but this is specifically like decorations, styling companies, places that you would hire things from.
Yeah.
So with the different ways it works is I think you can hire things and then you collect them or they deliver them and then you style them as you wish.
I think as a general rule, they deliver to reduce risk of breakage. For everything that I've seen, it includes like setup and clear down.
I think that is the most logical way of doing it because they know how it looks good, how to present everything.
Yeah.
Like for you, for example, if you were to hire some stuff and say, oh, I'm going to put a bit of my stuff in, which you can definitely do.
Yeah.
But I think it's ideal that either you give your stuff to them or you take your stuff to the venue and then say to the, you'll have had meetings with the companies where you'll say, I want to do this. Yeah. I want to do that. Can you add this? Can you add that? I will buy this if you put it in for me. And I think a lot of the companies are more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
But I think like you said, as a general rule, they will come in and do it all for you, which is such a lovely thing because you sort of have meetings with them, you go through the systems, how it works, and then they come in and do it all for you.
Yeah.
From what I know, I believe that you'll approach them, you'll say, I would like X, Y, and Z, but like you don't necessarily have to know what you want. You can sort of say, I like these colours, I would like this sort of feeling.
Yeah.
They will go away, do some work on it, and come back to you with what they think.
Doing your research on different styling companies or hire companies, because some might not do the kind of design that you want.
Yeah.
The one that we know locally is fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's quite rustic, a lot of it that I've seen.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff they did even at the wedding show, which was incredible, but it was if you want that clean girl kind of look, it's probably not from them.
Yeah, because we went to...
That's a big judgment. I've not seen all of their stuff.
No, well, we went to a wedding fair kind of thing at my venue.
It was called a showcase, wasn't it?
A showcase, that's it. And there was a styling company there that they dressed the whole marquee in loads of different styles. So they did like each table was a different style.
It was so cool.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And when we left, I said to Hayley, like, oh my gosh, the marquee's going to look so empty with all my stuff. And she was like, yes, but that was a showcase.
Yeah, it's meant...
Like, that was meant to look everything. Full. And it was meant to have everything. It wasn't showing you what that venue could look like.
Yeah.
It was showing you what that company does.
Yeah. And they are amazing.
Oh, incredible. We'll shout them out. The Wedding House, Droitwich.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, neither of us have used them, but one of our friends did, and she said...
had this beautiful flower arch, didn't she?
Oh, everything, every part of it was just incredible. Yeah. So beautifully done. They know what they're doing.
If our friend didn't have that company, there would have just been tables and chairs.
Well, she just isn't that way inclined. Like, she doesn't think about things like that. Whereas we're quite creative and we know the vibe and the style. And like, say for example, if you didn't have me and Mom, then maybe yours would be a bit different.
I'd have to hire.
Yeah. But like, so they are incredible.
Yeah. And what I like about hire companies, it's so sustainable.
So sustainable. And because some people could be thinking, oh, well, hiring from a company, my wedding will be the same as somebody else's wedding.
I've never seen any of their photos look the same.
No, me neither. I've never seen two weddings look the same, and I think that's something that they're really, really key on.
Yeah.
Like, not just this company, because there's so many incredible companies throughout the country, but they are very sort of... I think that most companies, and if I had a styling company, yes, there would be elements that would be the same in weddings, but there's different colours, there's different textures. It's not all just...
Yeah, what I've heard is you pick your main colour, pick a second colour, pick a texture, and a material.
Yeah.
They're the four things.
Yeah.
I think there might be something else.
Yeah. Metallic, I think, is one.
Yes, that'd be your material.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, like, say for you, it would be sage green and peach.
Yeah.
Then it would be...
a neutral.
Wood.
Yeah.
And gold.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be the main elements. And then you use other things to add dimension, to add texture, to add, lots of different sort of layers. That's it. But that's why they're so good at what they do, because if you're not sure, if you just go, for example, I know that I would like a pink themed wedding, or I would like pink as my main colour, baby pink, for example, they will then go away and do the work, and they're like, well, if you want baby pink and you're wanting let's use my word, ethereal feel to your wedding, then you want it soft and light, but you also want lots of texture and very country, then you would probably have more wild flowers, for example. I know we're not talking about flowers, but this is part of the consultations that you would have. You'd probably want everything sort of like English country garden kind of themed, with lots of texture, lots of natural like elements to it, and that's sort of where you would go with it, I think. And then they would sort of say, well, you could add some dimension with some darker pinks and some white flowers, lots of greenery, things like that.
Yeah,
that's the things that they will do. They will sort of take your idea and then run with it, basically. And I think you would go into their warehouse or their showrooms, and then you would sort of look at the things that they have. They obviously have portfolios. They have like the shoots of the different weddings they've done, or, they'll create table plans and all that kind of stuff. And they can do everything.
Like stationery and stuff as well, as in like signage.
Yeah. They literally can do every single element, can't they?
And the nice thing with lots of styling companies is the one that we know and we've seen quite a lot of, I think they're quite accessible to most budgets.
Yeah.
I think you can get a lot for what they do.
I think there's a there's a price point for everyone, isn't there?
Exactly. And like, I know that a couple who are getting married at the same venue as me, they spoke to a styling company and they really liked their stuff, but had the initial consultation and they were like, the minimum spend is £3,000. So then they were like, you're not the company for us, but
I can understand that from a company's point of view, that it's like, to be able to deliver the packages that we want to deliver, we have to, start at this
to
point.
Get the amount of stuff.
Yeah.
But so one of the ones I was looking at, you say you want a table centre.
Yeah.
And it's faux flowers.
Yeah.
So it's hard to not go into flowers, but you'd hire the table flowers.
Yeah.
And then you need something to put them on.
Yeah.
Whether that's just a wood block or one of the high stands or an acrylic stand, or if it's metal, there's different prices for each of those.
Of course.
So you have to add that on.
Yeah.
But that then doesn't include, say, charge plates.
Yeah.
Or cutlery or
napkins if you want coloured napkins.
A lot of them hire napkins. And then it's all, well, having that to match that is an extra £2.
Yeah.
And that's per head.
Yeah.
And then the next thing per head.
Yeah.
So it does, I can see if I did it, if I went to a styling company, I would be spending probably £3,000.
Yeah.
Because of how I think of things.
And I think, I agree, I would be the same. But I think for me, if I was going to walk into a styling company and I was wanting, for example, I'd walk in and I'd say, give me the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Give me everything. Yeah. Everything that I could possibly want.
What they do.
Yeah. And then we'll scale it back from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the way you'd have to go into it, is get the initial quote, and it might be thousands above what you can afford, but you can then say, okay, well, that's not.
What's a priority?
Yeah.
What can you afford to make yourself?
Yeah.
Like the napkins?
Yeah.
Did you make your own napkins?
No, I just had white napkins in the end.
I think I will too.
I think I love the idea of coloured napkins, and I love the idea of adding that additional colour in, but it just didn't make sense to me. No. It just wasn't a necessity. It wasn't something that I needed. Had I maybe have had more money, had I have had more time.
The other thing though, that means you've got to go and put them out.
Yeah.
And dress it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have the white ones, your catering company puts out when they lay the table.
Yeah. And that's something that you need to sort of think about as well.
Oh yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No.
Just on napkins, because I can hire them from my catering company, coloured ones, so that can add it on. I don't know if you could do the same.
Yeah, no, they would, with like your general table stuff. This is maybe something we'll go into when we talk about catering, but it is relevant now. Is that you can get like your silver cutlery, for example.
Yeah.
Your plates, your tablecloth, your glassware. All of that you can hire from your catering company. And for me, it was included in the cost of the food.
The standard is for me.
Yeah. So I didn't feel the need to upgrade that because it's something, to me, so insignificant.
Yeah. See, I'm considering it.
Yeah.
For certain bits.
Yeah. Like there was, like, for example, gold cutlery would have gone a lot better with my theme. However, my company didn't offer it, so I would have had to hire it in, and it just would have ended up being really expensive.
And like the cost of, if you know what people are like, I'm not saying any of our friends or family would do it, but a nice gold set of cutlery, put them in my pocket.
Yeah.
You then have to pay a replacement fee.
Yeah. And I just don't, it just didn't seem, it depends what your priorities are. If having the gold cutlery is high on the list of priorities, definitely do it.
Yeah.
For me, that wasn't my priority. Like my priority was probably more the flowers, the displays, I would have rather spent my money on having more in the room than having gold cutlery and coloured napkins. It wasn't my priority, and I think that is how you have to look at the whole wedding, isn't it, really?
100% what's important to you.
Yeah. And making sure that the two of you are like, this is what we want, and this is the right thing for us.
Yeah, for sure. So if you were to hire out what you made, how much do you reckon that would cost?
I don't even know. I wouldn't even know where to begin on that one.
I think you had so much. Yours would have been a top end. hire.
Yeah.
Because it's hard not to talk flowers, because a lot of the styling companies
we can obviously
use faux flowers.
Yeah, of course.
But they don't all. I'm not saying that they all do.
No.
But then that's where you need your styling company and your florist to work together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of the styling companies do have in-house florists because it makes sense. Because can you imagine, for example, you have a styling company that have created this incredible room, and then you hire a florist that you think is going to be amazing but might not hit the mark.
Flowers don't match the vibe.
And then you've got this incredible styling and these not so good flowers.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that then doesn't look that great on the styling company.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I think a lot of them do come hand in hand, and I think a lot of them do work together unless specified, and maybe it's something that like the styling companies have agreements with certain florists, and they're like, you know, they work together really well, so it makes sense.
That would make sense.
I don't know, but I do think a lot of people happily would have faux flowers or whatever the styling company recommends because it makes sense.
Yeah. So with what I've looked at, a lot of the styling companies will let you say hire signage.
Yeah.
But not necessarily the signage, just the stand, like what are they called?
Easel.
An easel to put your signage on, or an easel with flowers, which you can add on. Or if they've got a signage company that they work with, or they do it themselves, then they can do it too.
Yeah.
So that looks really cool. I'm just thinking of like your journey through the wedding.
Yeah. Okay, go on, carry on.
If you've got a ceremony rather than a church.
So with your ceremony, obviously, well, would you, let's say hypothetically, we're walking through the wedding, would you, if you had a big archway at the end of your ceremony room, would you then move that into your wedding breakfast room?
I would.
Yeah, me too.
To make the most of it.
Yeah. And like if you were to have pew ends, for example.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're having like a ceremony at a venue, a lot of the time pew ends aren't as big as they used to be, I think.
No, they tend to decorate the end chair now.
Yeah, with like a chair sash or something, and or like candles down the walkway, or you know, there's lots of different things.
Only thing I would say, if you're going to have candles down the walkway, our vicar at our church said we can't do it there because if your dress is too wide, you are setting your dress on fire.
Oh,
Be very conscious of the width of your aisle and your dress.
Yeah, I think you have to have a certain size aisle to have candles, and I think if you are hiring a styling company or the venue, they will tell you if you can or you can't. I think they probably would say
we need to see the dress first.
Yeah, or you do LED candles.
But then still the varsy things, what are they called? Like the hurricane jars.
Yeah.
The smash.
Yeah. I mean, I think in a church, you definitely don't need to have that much down the aisle. No. I did pew ends, but they weren't a necessity. I just wanted to bring some colour into the church.
Yeah, see, I know what I'm doing in mine, and it's not a lot, and it's going to be moved into a different part later on.
Yeah, all of mine was moved, but we didn't end up using the pew ends anywhere because we didn't need them in the end. But we did have a big flower arrangement that got moved into the marquee.
Yeah. And that's what we'll do.
Yeah, but that was a gift from the lady I used to work for. Yeah. Or did Mom buy it, actually?
I think Mom bought it.
Can't remember. Either way, she made it, and it was absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it was stunning. And those were the only fresh flowers I had. I had that one, and then I had the Lichgate, which she did for me, and they were incredible. So, like, I did not do a lot in the church, and I don't think necessarily you need to. Like, if you have a beautiful church, and most of the time the churches and the ceremony rooms are so gorgeous. One thing I love in a ceremony room is a flower arch.
Yeah, I think they're stunning.
I just think at the end of an aisle,
I think that's a pretty standard thing you can get from a hiring company. Yeah, and it comes in most of the packages I've seen.
Yeah, and normally these rooms have like a big window at the end of them.
Yeah.
And that shot of the bride and groom with that beautiful arch by a window, I just think it's that to me, I think would be something that I would splash out on if I was getting married at a venue.
Yeah, I agree.
I would splash out on something like that because then you can move it to behind your top table.
Yeah.
Like that is a really universal thing you can use.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. Your ceremony room, you'd maybe do like pew ends, and then...
Yeah, I think you can hire like confetti boxes, like everything.
Oh, I think you could go in and you could hire so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's sustainable.
Yeah.
And it's worth it, I think. If you're going to get something amazing out of it, so worth it.
100%.
Right, so we've done the ceremony room.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to walk into your venue.
And your drinks reception.
Dependent on whether you have a separate drinks reception to your wedding breakfast room.
Yeah.
Most places do that.
Yeah, they don't want people going into the wedding breakfast room until it's time for food.
Yeah, because you don't want people to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they like the bride and groom to see the rooms first.
Yeah.
So your your drinks reception room. For me, mine got moved. So it was supposed to be out on the lawn, which means there would be nothing. But because it was raining, we were inside. And they put my welcome sign in there for me. The venue did, because that was originally just going to be in the marquee. But they put the welcome sign in for me.
Yeah.
So if you were, say, if it's a room that's going to be used a lot, like for you, I'm trying to think.
You're not going to. Our drinks reception room / area is only going to be used for that drinks reception.
Oh yes, of course.
So
yeah,
all that's
I was thinking it was the bar area, but it's not. Is
different.
It? No. Yeah. Okay.
We're going to have like a welcome sign.
Yeah, which will be moved.
To where the evening guests will come in.
Yeah, good idea.
It won't be in the next bit because all the day guests will have seen it.
Yeah.
And then there's just nowhere really to put it.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to have is a welcome sign.
Perfect.
Because I want everyone to enjoy that building for what it is.
Yeah.
Some people put flowers in apparently, but I'm not even going to bother. It just doesn't need it with the amount of guests we've got.
Yeah.
It just doesn't need it.
And I think that's a really that's a really good point in terms of what you do and don't need.
Yeah.
Depending on your venue.
Just put his tail over, guys.
Dougie's done. Says I'm done with this. It's probably because the lights are so bright.
Yeah.
Depending on your venue, depends on what you need.
Yeah.
Like a venue that's a barn, we've said this before, but a venue that's a barn that's got beautiful, like, I know, Cooper's upside down in his bed. Doug's got his tail over his head. I think we're boring these dogs.
Yeah.
It's not normally like this.
Doug doesn't want to be sat next to us, I don't think. He wants us off the sofa and we can take a picture of Coops. He's lost his head.
Yeah. Depending on your venue, depends on what you need.
Yeah.
So, like...
mine needs a lot less than yours did.
Yeah.
So, hiring-wise, it would be a lot cheaper.
Yours would be a lot cheaper than mine,
And if you're hiring, you wouldn't necessarily do as much stuff.
I probably wouldn't have done as much as I did if I was hiring purely for money purposes.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, then I think if you went into then your...
Yeah, so drinks reception...
Minimal stuff.
Minimal, because depending on whether it's a room you're going to use a lot.
Or if you're having entertainment in your drink reception.
Yes.
So if you're having like a magician or music,
you
don't need it.
Yeah.
So balance out the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a bit obsessed with magicians at the moment. I keep looking them up.
I do wish I had a magician. They're so cool.
If the budget allows.
Yeah, after dinner, I would have had a magician.
After dinner?
I would have, yeah. Because
for the drinks reception.
I don't think
like cocktail hour.
Yeah, I don't think a drinks reception is necessary.
I think it depends on your timings.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with you. Maybe that's because for me it was so busy at my wedding.
I think if you have a magician in your drinks reception, that's when the bride and groom are doing a lot of their photos.
Yeah, I guess for me, because it was raining so much, we didn't get out and we weren't out for as long doing photos. So I guess it felt different for me. But yeah, I know what you mean. But anyway, we're not talking about entertainment. We're talking about...
No. So... Going drink reception, done.
Then you're going to go into your wedding.
Then you're going to wedding breakfast. So, cake table.
Yeah.
Seating plan.
Yeah.
Table centres.
Yeah.
That's it. Chair sashes if you want those.
Well, chair sashes depend on what your chairs look like.
Draping. So, certain venues.
Yeah.
Mine. You could have draping.
You could, yeah.
Again, budget allows.
And it adds another element. It adds a softness. It adds, especially if you're in a barn type venue that has sort of is a little bit harsher, I guess.
Yeah.
Then by having that draping, you're adding some softness. So that again, that is an option. That does always look stunning.
That looks cool.
Draping does.
I'm just trying to think anything else in there that you'd necessarily hire.
All of these you can add stuff to.
Yeah, of course.
So, for example, you could have a welcome sign on an easel, and that could be it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have a welcome sign on an easel with some flowers, with a pedestal, with a barrel next to it with some bits on it. Like, you can dress up or dress down any element, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
okay, then you go into like your bar, reception, all the bits, all the stuff.
Wait there, let's talk about tables first.
Sorry, got so excited.
So tables, again, you can do as much or as little as you want. It depends whether you want a high table, you want a low centerpiece.
If they're thingy tables.
If they're trestle tables, whether you want to do, what are the little vases called? That you have little bud vases. Bud vases, whether you want one, flowers on it, whether you want any flowers on it, or you want like a bird cage I've seen, or all sorts of different things.
Mom's big one.
I know, yeah, not quite as big as our mom's massive one. Or just candles. Like, there's so many different centerpieces that you can do.
You do need a centerpiece, though.
You definitely need a centerpiece, yeah. You definitely need a centerpiece. I reused my bridesmaids bouquets, and I had a wooden circle with a table runner and candles. That's what I had on mine. Yeah, and then I had some little signage on it, and I also forgot to mention this in the last decoration ones, but we had normal table numbers that said table 1, table 2, table 3, but we also had when I was 1, when I was 2, which is like a picture of me and Sam at that age, and it was such a conversation starter.
I can't wait to tell people about what I've done, because mine's really good.
You can't talk about it yet,
but it's good.
It is good. But yeah, I just thought it would be something really personal. So you can do like table numbers, you can do in so many different ways. You can do like acrylic ones.
But that's where you could add stuff yourself by doing the one when I was 1, when I was 2.
Yes.
And then you could still have the other bits hired.
Yeah. So you can have your table center, your runners, your candles, all of that you can hire, but you can add personal touches within that.
Yeah.
So you can do like little displays, little areas, light up letters.
Yeah, they're always popular to hire.
Yeah, all sorts. There's so much you can do. And in terms of hiring things, like there's so many different things you can hire. Like, and you can
buy them quite cheaply off Temu as well. But you can hire these voice guest books.
Yeah,
they're like phones.
Yeah,
but you can actually get them off Temu, which aren't that expensive.
I know, but what happens
would you risk
if it
for
breaks?
a chocolate biscuit?
I don't think I'd risk it.
No.
Like, I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would want to risk that.
No, I've already got my ideas.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can... There's so many things. You can hire photo booths. They can come from some styling companies.
Some styling companies have them. Our venue has one that you can hire separately.
Oh, yeah.
We're not sure.
Yeah, I went to a venue where you could hire a photo booth.
But it's on site, it's already there. They just open it or not.
It
looks pretty cool as it is. And things like, little things, like rather than having the beers on the table, you can hire a beer bucket.
Yeah. Sweet carts, you can hire like proper carts. I don't know if they would include the sweets or whether you have to buy them and take them to them.
So my caterers will do a sweet cart, and then they will provide the sweets as well.
Yeah, my venue had a sweet cart. You could hire the, not hire, I think you could just have it or not if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like a proper sweet cart, but we just did it on a table. We weren't bothered about having the actual cart.
I think my venue has the same because someone was setting it up when I went to it around once.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the only other thing I can think of is like dance floor decorations.
Yeah, well, you can hire full dance floors.
Yeah.
I think for mine, we just had the wooden dance floor because that's what went with the vibe. But you could have had a white light up dance floor. I think that was extra money.
Oh, really?
But there was different dance floors you could have.
Oh, cool.
But you can also hire dance floors from companies. There are dance floor companies.
Mirrored ones are never acceptable.
Oh, I wouldn't do a mirrored one.
That's not fair.
No, I wouldn't do a mirrored one.
No.
That's not for me. If you want a mirrored one, that's absolutely your choice. But just
tell your women guests.
Yeah,
first.
just beware.
And anyone who might wear a kilt.
Yeah, just beware. Yeah, that would not be for me. But for me, everyone's standing on a dance floor, so I didn't feel the need to have.
It's not a focal point, is it?
No, I didn't feel the need to spend the money on it. Yeah. But if it's something that you want the look of, then the option is there to sort of change the look of your dance floor. If it's like, you know, if the venue dance floor just isn't hitting the mark, then you can hire them. There's all sorts of like different bits and bobs you can hire, isn't there? Like you genuinely could completely fill your venue full of stuff.
Yeah.
Or you could just hire just the centerpieces.
Depending on the company.
Yes, of course.
So that's more like a hire company than a styling.
I think, okay, so there's a difference then between a styling company and a hire company.
Yeah.
So a styling company will work with you.
And dress it.
Yeah, and they'll go through your colour schemes, your feels, your feelings, any theming that you might want.
I'm feeling anxious about my wedding.
Not that kind of feeling.
I had my first stress dream about the wedding the other day.
Oh, really?
It was horrible. I woke up in a panic that there was no signage. And like fully...
I think that's the least of your problems.
Fully stressed that there was no welcome sign. There was no table plan. How did people know it was a sweet cart if there's not a sweet cart sign?
The only one out of those that is a necessity
is a table plan. 100%. I know that. But on the day of my wedding, apparently I was really stressed about it.
Talking about table plans, you can obviously make your own table plan. But you can also... a lot of companies will make your table plan.
Yeah, they're cool. That gives me anxiety though. At least doing your own, if someone cancels last minute, you can change what you need.
Yeah. No, I agree. I did change my table plan last minute.
Yeah.
I had a couple of people who moved tables, and then I did have somebody who didn't come, who wasn't coming. It was a child, so it really wasn't the end of the world, but I had to change the table plan. So I agree with you, but I think they do make it very, the last thing they do.
Yeah.
And also they're so incredible, these companies, that if you were to ring them the day before in a panic saying, oh my goodness, somebody's not coming, or like something's happened, can you change the table plan? They will do it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They're not, they're
there to make your day the best it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of different price points, I guess.
Yeah.
And a lot of different ways you can do it.
Yeah. I think have the consultation, go with an idea of what you want it to look like, so you know when you go to a company if they can provide it for you.
Yeah.
You don't want them to promise you the earth. I know the one locally, they have a really good showroom and they do loads of wedding showcases so you can see their stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think you want to see full weddings.
Yeah.
Like go on their Instagrams and look at tagged photos.
Yeah, what I would say as well is try not to look at styled shoots, because that's not the same as what it actually like an actual wedding.
Yeah.
So looking at your venue and then and they'll tag who's done what.
Yeah, looking at your venue is a really good way of doing it, because if a company has been to your venue before, they know the lay of the land, they know what they can do. Obviously, like they're brilliant and they'll go to any venue. But yeah, I would sort of suggest that, and obviously get in early, because if it's a company that has like specific things, you don't know if that stuff is going to be hired by someone else.
They might be doing multiple weddings on the same day.
Yeah, I don't think they do too many for that reason.
No, they don't want to disappoint.
Yeah, but if they can help people, they'll do as many as they can. But yeah, I think we didn't actually finish the difference between styling company and hire company. No, we got distracted. But yeah, styling company will do it all for you, or with you, should I say. And then a hire company is more like you'll go and you'll say what you would like, and then you hire it from them and they'll put it in for you.
Yeah.
So I think there's a difference between styling is much more involved.
Yeah.
And helps you with the overall picture.
Yeah.
Whereas a hire company supplies what you would like.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest with you guys, we don't know a lot about styling companies, hire companies, because we haven't used them. Like we've all made our own decorations, so DIY is definitely more our bag. It's not something we know too much about, but obviously we understand the concept of it, and we wanted to talk about it because it's something that is
so big.
So it's massive, and it does really make the feel of your wedding.
What I would like to say is that just because you're hiring doesn't mean it's not personal. I think a lot of DIY brides would be like, oh, well, you haven't made it, so it's not personal, it's not yours. No, it's still personal. So your personality, I just think you've done it a more straightforward necessarily, more sustainable, like we said, and for someone like me who's not creative, that is the right thing to do.
Yeah. And also, like, for some people, it isn't feasible to create all your own stuff.
No, if you've got, like, kids and, like, I can leave my stuff out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you've got little children who are going to run around with your scissors that you've left on the floor.
Yeah. And, like, timing, you know, a lot of people don't have enough time to make it. And so hiring stuff or getting, you know, help with styling.
Just makes it less stressful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, whatever's going to make your wedding the wedding that you want, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all that matters. That's all you can do is just enjoy creating a wedding and just, you know, having the best time.
Love it.
So, yeah, I think we can definitely talk about different options for decorations. That's something we can talk about.
Yeah.
Maybe in another podcast. Maybe not right now. Maybe sort of later on down the line when you're sort of more at that point, or after your wedding, we can talk more about decorations because you can divulge a bit more about
what I've done,
what you've done. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that's sort of a whistle stop tour on styling companies. We've done our best, guys. I hope you don't mind. We'll definitely talk about something we know more about next. But yeah, we wanted to talk about it because it is a massive part of the wedding industry.
And also not to put pressure on people that you have to be a DIY bride.
Oh gosh, yeah, no. If you do you. Mm-hmm. So long as you're happy and your wedding is what you want, that's all that matters.
100%.
Fab.
Cool.
Okay, well I think that's it then.
Love it. Thanks.
So
thanks for hosting me.
Thanks for coming. Thanks to the dogs for getting involved yet again. Always a floppy dog. Anyway, so I think that's it.
Yep.
Right. So for now, I'm Philippa.
I'm Hayley.
This was Confetti Conversations, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.